Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me, if you have understanding. Who determined its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it? On what were its bases sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut the sea with doors when it burst out from the womb? When I made clouds its garment and thick darkness its swaddling band, and prescribed limits for it, and set bars and doors, and said, Thus far you shall come, and no farther, and here shall your proud waves be stayed. Job 38, verses 4 through 11. Throughout both the creation narrative and the rest of history, we see God's wisdom in delineating boundaries between all things. He made a boundary between the heavens and the earth, and He made a boundary between the water and the land. He made a boundary between light and darkness, and He made a boundary between male and female. He set boundaries for our sexuality, and He set boundaries for our moral behavior, just like He set boundaries for the laws of physics and for chemistry. Later in Scripture, we see that God delineated the languages through the incident at the Tower of Babel, and after that, He set apart Israel as a nation separate from the other nations for the purpose of bringing the Messiah forward. In Acts 17 verse 26, it is written that God determined the boundaries for the many countries and various peoples on the earth. Boundaries are an important part of life. Being clear what you're committed to, being clear what you say no or yes to, being clear who you associate with and what you associate with, being clear when you do certain things and when you don't do others. All of these types of things are vital to maintaining an organized life, reducing stress, and avoiding unnecessary trouble. As Christians, we have a powerful message of love and forgiveness to offer, but this sometimes leads to problems with using boundaries in our lives with others. While it is true that we should do our best to treat others as we ought to be treated, there is something to be said about learning to use boundaries effectively when a situation calls for it, so that we avoid sinning, avoid bad influences, avoid danger, and avoid unnecessary stress or conflict. Believe it or not, the Bible has quite a few things to say about this topic, and as usual, it presents us with a complementary view to balance all of the other places where it talks about loving, forgiving, and serving selflessly. On one hand, we are told to let go of offenses often, and to be humble, to bear one another's burdens, to be kind, and to be soft in our dealings. Yet on another, we are also offered many points of discernment to know when we need to set a boundary in a given situation or a relationship. It is the dance between giving too much and giving too little, knowing when to give and when to refrain, and it definitely takes some practice. With that in mind, let's consider some of the following points from Scripture on the topic of boundaries. Although Christ warned us against judging others' character hypocritically, that's in Matthew 7, we're also instructed to test the spirits, that's 1 John 4 verses 1 through 6, to judge with right judgment, that's in John 7 verse 24, to look at the fruits of someone's life or work to see if they're a false teacher, that's Matthew 7, and Romans 16 verse 17, and to expose the works of darkness, that's Ephesians 5 verse 11. Regarding our dealings with others, we are told that bad company ruins good morals, 1 Corinthians 15 verse 33, and to avoid associating with people who can't control their emotions. See Proverbs 22 verse 24 through 25, Proverbs 19 verse 19, and Proverbs 21 verse 19. We are told to keep watch over ourselves when helping someone caught in sin, so that we too aren't tempted. That's Galatians 6 verses 1 through 2, and we're told to avoid divisive people if they refuse to listen to good reason. That's Titus 3 verse 10 through 11. We are even told to be careful of how often we burden our neighbors so that they don't start hating us. That's Proverbs 25 verse 17. In the book of Amos, it says that for two to walk together, they must be agreed. That's Amos 3 verse 3. And Christians are reminded to avoid being unequally yoked with unbelievers. That's 2 Corinthians 6 verse 14. Lastly, we are told to avoid throwing our pearls before swine. That's Matthew 7, verse 6, which is a metaphor of why we should be careful where we put our efforts and energy, especially when spreading the gospel. In his first letter to the Corinthians, Paul makes it clear that we aren't to concern ourselves with judging outsiders, but actually those within the church. See 1 Corinthians 5, verse 12 through 13. This is something most Christians don't realize, but it makes perfect sense. An unbeliever who hasn't committed their life to Christ cannot be held accountable to the same standards as a believer who professes their faith. They need the gospel first. But with those in the church, we are to test and discern, especially with our leaders. Of course, we should always do our best to be loving, but that doesn't preclude us from using our God-given minds to make judgments about their behavior or teachings if said things are obviously out of alignment with a Christian walk. Charles Spurgeon famously said, "Discernment is not knowing the difference between right and wrong. It is knowing the difference between right and almost right." Sometimes you will run into a situation or a person that just doesn't work regardless of your good intentions and effort. It can be a family member, a friend, a coworker, or somebody else. It is what it is. We are all different and we see the world differently. Even the apostles argued fiercely with one another at various times. See Luke 9, verse 46 through 7, Galatians 2, verses 11 through 14, and Acts 15, verse 39. This is our state here in a fallen world, and it's why exercising boundaries alongside forgiveness is an important part of your walk so that you can stay authentic and consistent. When all of this is over and we have new bodies, new minds, and the presence of God on earth, things will be very different, and these unworkable problems will be a thing of the past. Although there is never a right time to quit or to keep going in a situation, we can pray for discernment to see the truth of God's will. Giving something your full attention, trying to make it work, and praying for support to see clearly are often the best and only things you can do. Trying to maintain a baseline level of gratitude and compassion is also important, lest you sour your conscience and become bitter or resentful. Don't forget also that your prayers may be answered in a way that you didn't expect, and that the situation or person in question suddenly gets removed from your life instead of there being reconciliation. I've experienced this several times, and it is just God's will in action. If you are the type of person that hangs on to things, one of the biggest lessons God will teach you is to let go. If you are the type of person that is a people pleaser, one of the biggest lessons God will teach you is to learn to say no. It always works like this. It is the opposite of what your flesh desires, because the flesh and the spirit are opposed to one another. See Galatians 5, verse 17. So, let the process happen and continue to connect to God through prayer as it unfolds. Remember that learning to use boundaries effectively is a lifelong lesson. Part of this lesson is maintaining our love, gratitude, and compassion, even though we've set a boundary with someone. Often it is the case that setting a boundary is a defense mechanism, and certainly these may be necessary sometimes to preserve our sanity. But as Christians, we are called to a higher level of love. We want to fill the space right up to that boundary, rather than setting the boundary and walking away from it. This is why I believe prayer is so important, and specifically having a list of people that you pray for regularly, whether written down or mentally. Remember also that forgiveness creates a space where there was once something, and unless that something is filled up with gratitude, your mind will immediately begin throwing the old stories back in there. This is why praying for those you disagree with, praying for their well-being, not praying for them to see that you're right, or praying for your enemies can be so therapeutic. Especially while boundaries must be maintained, we can still pray for unbelievers to see the truth, for the militant atheists to have their hearts softened, and for those we disagree with to have peace in their lives. We can pray for the health of their children and their families, and we can pray that God grants us the strength to maintain our forgiveness, self-control, and compassion if we have to interact with them regularly. After all, these things are only possible through Him anyway.